Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Now you all guys and girls must be relaxed after giving your exam. After some 6-7 months of hard work, finally your exam got over. Now I also spoke to my students and just came to know about this analysis that this time most of the questions were from biochemistry, my subject, and PSM. Some of the questions were tricky also. So if I have also to analyze the entire questions, most of the questions this time I can say came from vitamins, isn't it? And in my last video also, when I gave a rapid revision and a blueprint, I mentioned about two questions which came as it is. Isn't it, like about niacin and pellagra? So these were the questions which were asked, and so as per the information gathered by my students, some of my students, I have made a recall video, and the details, as you can see, are here. This is my telegram thing, so you can just scan. This is my YouTube channel, which you can see here, and this is my email ID. Right, so I have roughly collected some 11 to 12 questions. If you guys have other questions also in your mind, so you can just text them on my email ID. Right, so let's, without wasting time, let's start the recall. Question number 1: which of the following pathways is affected in G6PD deficiency? Now if you look at this question, this is a very straightforward question. Every time whenever you people study biochemistry, we always emphasize on one thing, that you people should know about the rate limiting enzymes, rate committed enzymes. In fact, I to tell in my class every time that you have to make a separate chart for that. Okay, so if we talk about G6PD deficiency, we all know that this is the rate limiting enzyme of HMP shunt. Isn't it? If we talk about any rate limiting enzyme, glycolysis ka if we see, glycolysis, you know, it is hexokinase, it is phosphofructokinase, it is pyruvate kinase. Gluconeogenesis mein it is pyruvate carboxylase. So HMP shunt will be the answer. Right. अब इसमें this is a option pentose phosphate pathway. Sometimes we call HMP shunt as pentose phosphate pathway also. So this option must be something else. So you better correct on it. It has to be HMP shunt. And why it is a shunt? Because shunt, why we call HMP as a shunt? Because shunt doesn't have an end product. Always keep this thing in mind. Okay? So the answer will be C. And we know that the deficiency of G6PD leads to hemolytic anemia. Right? Then second question, a child presents to the clinic with fatigue, joint pain and swollen gums, and physical examination reveals petechiae on her skin. Whenever these cases, like clinical cases, are asked, I've always told you to just search for that key point, which is very, very important. And always remember, whether a case history is 3-liner or it is 10-liner, always there is one hint hidden in all the case histories. If we talk about this, you can see swollen gums and petechiae on her skin. So swollen gums and petechiae on her skin is a clear indication of which vitamin deficiency. It has to be vitamin C. Why? Because we know that vitamin C, the function of vitamin C is it functions as an antioxidant, right? And it catalyzes the hydroxylation of proline and lysine in the synthesis of collagen. So obviously, if synthesis of collagen is deficient, it leads to deficiency of vitamin C. And again, vitamin C is also required in wound healing also, because it is working, main function is it is working as an antioxidant, right? Because there is the active form of vitamin C is ascorbic acid, so there is always a oxidation reduction. Vitamins ascorbic acid, dehydroascorbic acid, and vice versa. So the answer is B. Then third, patient with gum bleeding, arthritis, knee pain, joint pain, swelling, and suffering from the last 3 months. Which vitamin deficiency is there in this patient? Now, again, if we talk about gum bleeding, okay, arthritis, but here you see the three main points: arthritis is there, knee pain is there, joint pain is there, and swelling is also there. So, if we talk about this, we always correlate knee pain and joint pain with calcium and phosphorus metabolism. So which vitamin is responsible for the maintenance of calcium and phosphorus metabolism? It's none other than vitamin D, whose active form is 125-DHCC, or it is also known as cholecalciferol. Alright, so the answer will be C. Vitamin D will be the answer. Then moving on to the next question. Defect of tyrosine transaminase. Now I've been telling you for so long that in fact in every video of mine I have mentioned one thing, that every year a question is asked on the inborn error of metabolism related to phenylalanine and tyrosine. Every year this is the pattern which is being followed. So here it has come tyrosine transaminase, again related to phenylalanine and tyrosine. Now if we go back to again the metabolism, we know that this tyrosine which is derived from phenylalanine is glucogenic as well as ketogenic. So this tyrosine, since transamination is here occurring in the liver, so the enzyme can be hepatic transaminase, right? And it forms para-hydroxyphenylpyruvate. And this is also known as tyrosinemia, because see, if this enzyme is absent, what will happen? There will be increased concentration of tyrosine. So it will lead to type 2 tyrosinemia. This para-hydroxyphenylpyruvate then undergoes dioxygenase activity to form homogentisate. If this enzyme is absent, it leads to tyrosinemia type 3, which is also known as neonatal tyrosinemia. So here it is type 2 tyrosinemia, which is also known as Richner-Hanhart syndrome. So defect of tyrosine transaminase will cause type 2 tyrosinemia. The other name of this is hepatic transaminase, right? Then moving on to fifth question, most common cause of blindness in pediatric population. So whenever we talk about in children, most common cause of blindness has to be retinopathy of prematurity. Why? Because when the child is born, whenever we talk about premature infants, in there is not proper formation of the blood vessels in and around the retina. So it might lead to blindness, which is this. Alright, so the answer to this question has to be D. And ideally, I think this question should be asked in your pedia, not in biochemistry. Then next, a patient presents with a combination of a Cassel necklace, cheilitis, and stomatitis. Upon further investigation, it is discovered that the individual has a diet sufficient in a specific nutrient. Now, which vitamin deficiency is most likely responsible for this clinical presentation? अब देखो बेटा, if you look at the options, most of the students, you people must be confused between Cassel necklace stomatitis, because whenever we talk about angular stomatitis, we know that it is B2 deficiency, and we know B2 deficiency is characterized by 5 hallmarks. Chelosis is there, angular stomatitis is there, corneal vascularization is there, seborrheic dermatitis is there, and glossitis is there. But here the term which predominates is Cassel necklace. Why Cassel necklace? Because this is simply photosensitive dermatitis. And if we talk about Cassel necklace, it is a characteristic feature of niacin deficiency, which leads to pellagra. And we know that pellagra is characterized by 3 Ds: diarrhea, dermatitis, and dementia, which finally leads, if left untreated, leads to the final D, which is death. And this question I repeated in my rapid revision also. This is a very, very important question. In fact, for the past 2-3 years, ये जो Castle necklace question है, this is continuously being coming. Sometimes it comes in the form of this clinical case, sometimes it comes from in the form of image based. And if I show you the image, this kind of image is asked in every exam like this. You can see, and this is an indication of what? Photosensitive dermatitis. Right? And that is why, since it looks like a necklace, that is why it is known as Cason necklace. So हमेशा याद रखना, whenever we talk about Cason necklace, it has to be, it's by default, मतलब इसको ऐसे याद रखो, by default it has to be pellagra or niacin deficiency. और यहाँ पे देखो, it is mentioned also that the individual has a diet deficient in a specific nutrient. Which vitamin? Because niacin is a endogenously synthesized vitamin. And the precursor of niacin in body is tryptophan. That is why, and there was another parallel question which was on this particular topic, and that is why I have written the questions like that only. One followed by the other. अब यहाँ पे you can see which of the following is a precursor of niacin. It has to be tryptophan. Always remember, 60 milligram of tryptophan synthesizes 1 milligram of niacin. And the other products synthesized from tryptophan apart from niacin are serotonin and melatonin. So here the question answer is tryptophan. Clear? Then iron absorption is decreased by which of the following? Now this iron is a very, very important mineral in our body, right? And there are so many forms in which iron is present. Now here we are talking about iron absorption. We all know that iron absorption depends on vitamin C. Basically, this vitamin is required for the absorption of iron. We all know, you have to correlate. See, this is a very tricky question, but it is a very interesting question, I should say. Whenever we talk about vitamin C, the richest source of vitamin C are all citrus fruits, isn't it? Since vitamin C is acting, it is absorbing iron, so you can say that all the fruits which are rich in vitamin C are going to increase iron absorption. It's very clear. ठीक है? So करता क्या है vitamin C? Because it works as an antioxidant. And always remember, iron is present in two forms, ferric and ferrous. So there is an interconversion of ferrous to ferric and vice versa. Ferric ferrous में जाएगा, ferrous ferric में जाएगा, depending upon the oxidation and reduction. Antioxidant, good reducing agent, so it will increase. Up coming over to the sources of vitamin C, we all know amla. It is the richest source of vitamin C. So obviously it is going to increase the absorption of iron, isn't it? Lemon, again citrus, it is going to increase the absorption of iron. Sprouts are also known to increase because they are also rich in vitamin C. Leftover is tea. So the answer सबसे पहले हो जाएगा tea. Now the question arises, what is there in tea that which is actually inhibiting the absorption of iron, which is decreasing, because iron has this tea has phytase in it. And always remember, this phytase is generally, it interferes with that. Whenever we are having a meal with the tea, it is always going to affect the absorption of iron. Right, so iron absorption will be decreased with tea. So just by knowing this question, we can always go to this here. The moral of this question is that we should never have tea with the meals. Clear? So the answer is tea. Then the rate limiting enzyme of HMP shunt. Now again, rate limiting enzyme hai, if we talk about HMP shunt, it is glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase. In my videos, I have clearly mentioned, if you see HMP shunt ka, it is G6PD. If we talk about cholesterol biosynthesis, the rate limiting enzyme of cholesterol biosynthesis is Hmg CoA reductase. So the answer will be B. Right. If we talk about others, glucose 6-phosphatase is not a rate limiting enzyme. Phosphofructokinase, yes, it is a rate limiting as well as rate committed enzyme of glycolysis. And if we talk about glycogen phosphorylase, it is a rate limiting enzyme of glycogenolysis. Right? So here it will be B. Because HMP shunt, again, it plays a very, very important role in RBCs and adipose tissue because it generates ribose sugar and NADPH. Then comes lactulose. Most of the students, you people must be confused between lactulose and lactose. Because one go mein na, if you see the question, you must have thought ki chalo lactose. But there is a world of difference between lactose and lactulose. If we talk about lactose, you know it's a disaccharide. Also known as milk sugar, formed of glucose and galactose, but both in beta form. Beta 1,4 linkage. Lactulose is what? It is a synthetic sugar or synthetic disaccharide. Means artificially made. क्यों बनाई जाती है? Just because of one simple reason, that it is used as a laxative. It's a very important laxative because it can play with the osmolality of the body. Right? अब question आता है, what is the composition? The composition of lactulose is galactose and fructose. They are present in beta form, but instead of glucose, it is fructose. Right? So the answer is C. Because the main use of laxative is there is no, you can say that because lactose ke liye to there is an enzyme lactase, lactulose ke liye there is no enzyme which can degrade it. So since it is not degraded in the body, so it will help in easy facilitation of the feces. Then which receptor plays a crucial role in glucose uptake by skeletal muscle? This I have mentioned in my videos so many times. Always remember, whenever we talk about skeletal muscle and about glucose uptake, we have to remember this mnemonic. The mnemonic is HAS, where H stands for the heart, A stands for adipose tissue, and S stands for skeletal muscle. Right? And whenever has, iske liye the transporter is GLUT4, which is insulin dependent. We always, whenever we talk about the transporters, there are so many different transporters in the body. GLUT4, 8 and 12 are dependent on insulin, rest are insulin independent. And if we talk about in the intestines and kidneys, S-GLUT1 and S-GLUT2 are again the transporters. So here the answer has to be GLUT4. GLUT4 is for skeletal muscle. If we talk about GLUT1, it is for RBCs, GLUT2 is for pancreas, and GLUT3 is for the neurons. So the answer is A. Right? Then moving on to the next question, out of the following options, which one belongs to the mitochondrial matrix enzyme? Now we all know that mitochondria is known as the powerhouse of the cell. Most of the respiratory enzymes are present here. Now if we talk about, see all the options, these three are present in the mitochondria. But where? The question is matrix here. So if we talk about citrate synthase, it's an enzyme of TCA cycle, and we all know that TCA kahan pe hota hai? It occurs in the matrix of mitochondria. If we talk about MAO, monoamino oxidase, it is present in the mitochondria, but it is present on the outer mitochondrial membrane. And function of this is it helps in degradation of serotonin into 5-HIAA. ATP synthase, we know the synthesis of ATP occurs on the inner mitochondrial membrane. And if we talk about catalase and peroxidase, they work antagonistically and they protect the body from oxidative damage. And whenever we talk about their occurrence, they are in the peroxisomes. Then I have heard somewhat related to, about this cholesterol synthesis. One question has been asked on the rate limiting enzyme of cholesterol biosynthesis. So it is Hmge-CoA reductase. Right. So these are some of the questions which I could gather from my students. Now, after seeing this video, if you guys have any other questions in your mind that what all were asked in the exam, please you can just mail them on my email ID so that I can again, if I get all the questions, because this is just tentative thing, 12 questions, and I've heard like 17 to 19 questions are generally asked in biochemistry. So whatever questions you are having in your mind, so you can just mail them to me so that I can frame again another video. Right. So thank you so much, guys. Take care now. Since FMG is over, now you can relax. And I pray to God that you people clear this FMG exam this time. Thank you.